Buenas tardes, LEC community. This is Delia, your high impact practice director at the LEC, where we work to increase the representation of Latinx educators K through 12. This evening, I have the honor and privilege of introducing one of our Latinx Educator Award nominees, Nury Castillo-Crawford. We closed nominations yesterday, Nury. So today we've been super busy, like categorizing them because there's like the 5 different awards. So speaking of, you were nominated for the Administrator of the Year. So tell us all about you, who you are, where your people are from, your journey through education.
Wow. Okay. So first of all, thank you so much. I love it. I love the whole idea of kind of elevating each other. I believe in the empowerment of our community. So this means a lot to me. So Nury Castillo-Crawford, I was born and lived almost 11 years of my life in Peru, South America, with mi papi, my mom, and my little sister and brother. I am the oldest and have definitely lots of stories that are very relevant to being the oldest Latina, the oldest child in a family that emigrates to this country. So definitely very close to my parents, and whatever we didn't have in funds and financial stability or wealth. I definitely consider myself blessed and rich beyond anything money could ever buy by having my parents and my family. And that is literally something I try to help our families, our communities see, that you don't have to know English nor have wealth, financial wealth, to be the parents that you need to be for our children. So I'm very passionate about that. So I came to this country, definitely, like I said, got support from my parents, learned English, and definitely was a good student. My parents, again, didn't have the education to support me, but they, without even having research-based strategies to support me, knew that I needed space and time to do my homework, and I needed my snack. My mom gave me my snack every day after school, haz tu tarea, hijita, like that kind of thing. And my dad checked my homework, even though now it's like he didn't know what he was reading, but he wanted to check it for penmanship, that the paper was nice, and like those little things that don't take money or knowledge of a skill set or standard or anything. And so for that, I'm going to be eternally grateful. My junior year in high school, I went to my high school counselor after learning from my friends that they were going to go to college, to ask him what I could do to go to college. And he told me people like me don't go to college and that I should be a secretary. Mind you, I would be the most amazing secretary this world has ever seen, but I wanted to be a teacher. And so determined, like my parents raised me, right? I didn't give up. He couldn't help me. So then I found another way to get in. I looked it up. We had 2 universities and a college in my town in Tallahassee, Florida. Looked them up and went to visit them myself. Florida A&M University, a historically Black university, basically took the time with me, told me not to worry, and they helped me with the process and gave me a scholarship to attend. And basically that literally is the beginning of my journey as an educator, and learning lots of lessons that I could definitely relate to in terms of our community, the power of representation and the power of having to work, the knowledge that I knew I had to work twice as hard to get to where I needed to get to, but basically learning to love myself and having self-esteem and not allowing anyone to determine my potential. So those are very important lessons that I feel like I did learn while I studied at Florida A&M University. Became a teacher, finished grad school under a fellowship. So again, was blessed to be able to do that. And then was a teacher, worked for the federal programs at a school system, became an assistant principal, then a director, for the largest school district in the state of Georgia, serving over 180,000 students. And now I'm an executive director for Madison Metropolitan School District, where I lead a district-wide initiative of providing and changing the narrative for alternative education. For me, it's very important to own the stories that we have and not allow anyone else to tell our version. So basically helping the students feel empowered and knowing that they have options, right? It's not because you have to, but because we're going to be proactive in the decisions that we make about our own future. So alongside of that, I've also, I'm a published author because I do believe in representation. And I've written bilingual children's books about the story of a little girl who moves to this country and finds strength in being herself, bilingual, biliterate, and bicultural, because we don't have to give up who we are, our music, our food, our traditions, our faith, etc., to fit in anywhere. We are who we are, and that is our superpower. And the minute we start realizing that and helping our kids see that, the better we're going to be for it. You know, so I could go on about that. So I definitely did that, and been very involved in the community as an advocate and hosting. I still do it. Definitely doing workshops virtually. I'm hosting a bilingual book festival in Atlanta, so I'm going to be flying back there. Still have lots of friends that are carrying on the work that I've started. And we're going to be doing a bilingual book festival after I opened a multilingual bookstore in Atlanta, where we could not only support our Latino authors because of their representation, but also help other communities. But most of the books are Spanish. I won't, you know, I that is being very transparent. But also giving access to our community so that our kids see books in our language, our home languages, and the representation, and see it as normal and not something like out of the box. So you don't just see books in the library or at school, but they're also in our community. So the bookstore is located inside Plaza Las Americas, which is definitely a Latino frequented mall with over 200 stores. So lots of traffic and lots of opportunities. So we host 2 events per month that are free, that are literacy based. We also do 2 sessions a month for parents that will begin in January, English lessons with a focus on literacy. And so we will be doing everything, you know, for our families and stuff. So I'm all about educating and empowering our families. I know that was a long answer.
This was beautiful. I mean, I just kind of want to sit with it for a little bit. Seriously. Amazing. Some of the words your nominator used to describe you were that you foster collaboration to build vibrant communities where students feel supported. And that's a direct alignment with our values. Authenticity, you show up and embrace your full humanity. Impact, you support your students, improving their educational outcomes to better themselves. You mentioned like rewriting that narrative. And integrity, you demonstrate the ability to listen and learn from others. You know, she also mentioned that you are one of the most authentic people she knows. Can you tell us how you lean into that real quick? I know that wasn't one of our questions, but how do you lean into that? For her to start her, like, why are you nominating this person? For her to say that first before everything else, like, how do you lean into that, and how do you practice that in your leadership role?
Yeah, so I tell people, you know, I lived in the South for so long. I'm not everybody's cup of tea, right? Because being authentic means that everybody is not going to love where you are in your journey. But for me, being authentic means just being myself, because other people don't change who they are when you walk into their office or you walk into their space. So I don't have to change when I walk into their spaces either. I am who I am, you know, with my Spanglish, with my brown skin, with my black hair. And when I feel like, you know, like I feel like it, I will wear my red lipstick. And when I feel like I don't, then I don't. You know, some days I wear pearls and some days I don't, right? And so for me, it's just being who I am all of the time because I don't know how to be anybody else. And I encourage and advocate for everyone to do the same. And when people ask me questions to elude that perhaps I'm biased because I'm championing for my community, I tell people I love myself, therefore I love my community, and I want everyone to feel that way. It doesn't mean I don't want the best for you at all. That's not it. I love all children, and I want everyone to be able to look in the mirror and find pride in who they are. I don't want them, I don't want any less for anyone, but that includes my community. And for a community that's been marginalized and overlooked, those children, they need us to be the adults that we needed, right? And so for me, it is a commitment. And I tell myself every morning, today I will be the adult that I needed. And there's no excuses. No matter how much my calendar is filled and the responsibilities I have a commitment and I hold myself accountable for being that adult.
Absolutely. I love it. And shout out to your parents, like familia, to give you that snack. I know I giggled because I have a 7-year-old and that's the first thing he wants. And you know, we transition into just letting him like have fun for a moment and have your snack, have some fun. And then, yes, I give him a little space to practice his spelling words or read a book. You know, he has to do certain tasks every day after school. So yes, shout out to your parents. How does it feel to be nominated?
It's humbling. I mean, I'm always like, wow, you know, it definitely isn't like I shared earlier. So I am humbled and I'm so grateful, like, wow, you know, because I know that I'm just a piece of the puzzle, and so many amazing people who I'm proud to say are Latino as well are the people that still hold it down. You know, I mentioned I moved from Atlanta to Madison, Wisconsin, but we can't just like, you know, because I left and all of a sudden like, okay, well, we're not going to do any of the stuff anymore. I'm going to now start it in Madison, which by the way, I'm already connected to leaders in this community so that we can start this stuff in Madison. I'm happy to say that, but I couldn't leave the families, you know, that I love and they love me. They still contact me and maestra, necesito esto. Then, you know, boom, I pick up the phone, I call, I do what I need to do. Text my friends who are still boots on the ground there. So for me, it's, yes, it's a recognition, but definitely it's not something I can do by myself. It definitely takes la comunidad, all of us to do it and for all of us to care. And so, yeah, so the nomination is so humbling, but also I acknowledge it knowing that it's not just Nury, it's Nury, las chicas.
Yeah, no, your people.
Yeah, mi gente.
Yeah, your people that are working alongside you and on this journey together. I love that. Love it, love it. Did you play sports by any chance when you were younger? Okay. Why do you think representation matters? I know you touched on it a little bit, and I know that you ooze of this because of your you know your bookstore and the books that you're publishing. Like why does Nury believe in representation?
Well, first of all, there's a lot of research, not so much with Latino community, more with African American community. There's research that says that it does matter, especially in the classroom. But I also know personally that it does because, and it's interesting or it's amazing that not only it impacts children, but also adults. You know, you meet an adult, they kind of see you walking in with the leadership team, etc. And you can tell, like, oh my gosh, like I'm so proud of. I've literally had adults tell me they're so proud of me, and that, like I've never met them, but they're proud because I represent our community. And I know children need to see us in different roles. Like my mom and I, because I helped, my mom cleaned houses and offices when we first got here. And like I said, I helped too. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's an honorable, hard, task. It pays. So you got to work, right? But our children need to see us in other roles as well. So not only domestic, but also in leadership, in other areas of the community. Children need to see us in varied roles so that they too can aspire, right? You can't be who you don't see. And so children need that support, that guidance. And when they hear our stories and find relevance in them, and I tell them, like I lived in Peru and I swept the dirt before I went to school, etc. Or when we got here, we were in a room, not one bedroom apartment. We were in a room, the five of us, etc., etc. Children sometimes will say, like, so did I, or like they just start finding connections with different things, right? And so for me, that's so important for them to see, like, man, and I'm as regular as anybody else. I tell them all the time, like I was just a little kid, like I just like you. And so if I can make it, you can make it, because I didn't even have me, and I'm gonna like not sleep until you get what you need to get. Yeah. Yeah, and I tell them that. I'm like, and you have me, so we're gonna do it, even for the book festival, I have a handful, probably almost a dozen high school students who have been part of the programs. I launched a mentoring program for our kids in Atlanta. Forgot to tell you that, 2019, got national attention for that.
Nice.
And so some of the kids are in high school, and of course, they're helping, they're giving back. I definitely instilled in them that, I can't live forever. Somebody has to continue to work, and we have to support our community. Like we have to help our community, and we can't just like be selfish and think like I'm going to get mine. I said, because if that's the case, I can just check it off, go to my office, tell my assistant to schedule my meetings, and then I call it a day. But that's not who we are. We have to help our community move forward. And so for me, that's pretty much how I feel about it. And in the girls and the boys, they know genuinely that they matter to me. And so because they know I'm authentic, they know I'm genuinely caring about them, I think it definitely means something to them. They understand that. And we had definitely summer programs, with national sponsors, etc. We did like lots of coding, STEM, art, etc. We did so many things with the kids, and we literally spoke Spanglish. I have pictures of like having oranges as a snack, and the kids didn't eat them, so I get them to cut them into little fourths. And if they didn't, then like we'd had like all these boxes of oranges. Since this last summer, I was literally, somebody took a picture of me putting them on the juicer because we're making fresh squeezed orange juice for breakfast. And they were like, welcome to mommy. And I'm like, that's right. This is like a bicultural event. So it's awesome because the kids, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Like we speak Spanish and English, and we do cultural things that it's, salsa and everything else. We like incorporate lots of different things from our culture. And it's beautiful to see them smiling and thriving and just enjoying themselves, and knowing that we do love them and that we're there for them. Like we're here to serve.
And thank you for elevating that. Representation is, what research, connecting it to research and the Black and Brown community, we know that we get better results when we're seen. And I think a lot of what you're talking about is like that sense of community, that sense of belonging, visibility, and the importance of seeing this level of representation, not just in domestic, right? Like what you said, in domestic roles, or like service level, right? Employment. Those are good, and it's needed. A lot of our families start there, right? And
Yep,
then
we surely did.
as they're growing their next generation, they want better. So your parents
Yes.
set conditions for you. My parents set conditions for me to do better. And love, love, love the ideas that you shared. So thank you for all the work that you're doing and leading. And you're still managing both, like in Atlanta and in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yes. I've already been speaking to some of the
Felicidades.
leaders, so we're getting ready to launch some initiatives here as well. It's much needed. So we're gonna do it.
Absolutely. I have one more question for you, and then we'll wrap up. What keeps you going? I know you touched a little bit on the students. I like what you said. Like you got me, so I ain't going nowhere. What did you say? You have me, so
Oh yeah, like I'm gonna. Yeah, I won't even sleep. I tell them that, and I
yes,
mean
I
it.
won't sleep.
Yeah, I won't. I mean, I
So
literally will do what I need to do to help them. So what keeps me going?
keeps you going. Yes.
Yeah, the kids, and I know, like it shouldn't matter where your family's from or your income level. Like everybody needs a little bit of help at some point in their life, right? And our kids deserve it. Why should they not have access because their parent can't afford a STEM camp that's like 3,000 for 3 weeks in the summer, you know? And because of that same idea, that's why we had our camps, and we had coding and drones and all this other stuff. I mean, like the kids had camps that people that could afford would probably pay thousands of dollars for, because
Mm,
I always like to deliver things, whether it's a school supply drive. I don't, not that I wouldn't appreciate a $10 backpack, but I like to give them things that I would want, that other
mhm.
kids want and other kids have, because I just don't believe that they shouldn't have because of whatever circumstances their parents
Right.
are. And I was that kid. I just because we didn't have didn't mean I didn't see other kids having stuff and wanting stuff. I'm intelligent. I was intelligent as a little girl. Just because I didn't speak English perfectly well didn't mean I didn't understand the things that were happening around me, or that the teacher put me in the back. And you know what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
I know how it feels for people to think less of you and for people to not know your full potential. So because of
mm,
that, that keeps me going. I want them to know that no matter who else doesn't believe in you, like I do believe in you and I'm going to help
mm.
you. So that's
That's
important to
beautiful.
me. That's important to me.
That's
I just want to be the adult that I needed. And
mhm.
and I know that, if we are committed and we hold ourselves accountable for ensuring that our biggest investment, which are our kids, um, helping them thrive, we will get the outcome that we need. Otherwise, we're going to be like little hamsters in a wheel and complain and not get anywhere. Each of
Mm,
us has the power to make an impact. So whether you're mentoring, whether you're just taking the time to tutor someone, doesn't have to be like your whole life. You don't have to be loca como yo. Like you don't have to dedicate, but you could do an hour a week could
mhm,
make it a lifetime of an impact for our kids. And I just would
mhm.
implore everyone to just like one kid at a time, we could make a difference.
Absolutely. Absolutely. LEC community, you heard from Nury Castillo-Crawford, Executive Director out of, can you finish my sentence? Madison, and
MMSD,
Madison was
Madison Metropolitan, yes.
nice, nice, where she is making a great impact. She's been nominated. By the way, you have 2 nominations in there. Forgot to mention that. So congratulations.